Wagwan YouTube, it's your boy Shaco Plays, and today we're here with a Tekken 8 video. So I know a few people still don't really understand the mechanics of the heat, or the heat mechanics, should I say. So I'm just going to do a quick video on how the heat mechanic works. So there's basically 4 things you need to kind of know about the heat mechanic. So we have heat burst, heat engages, heat smash, and heat dash. So we're going to break these 4 things down. So without further ado, let's get it started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is heat burst. So what heat burst is heat burst is a way to manually go into the heat mode. Now if you actually use heat burst manually, you actually start off with less meter than if you was to do it, if you was to go into heat, for example, using a heat engager. Heat burst can also be used in middle of combos to kind of extend the combo. Again, it gives a bound, so you can actually extend your combos. So it's really good for combo extension as well. So yeah, that's basically how heat burst works. When I was playing the CNT test, a lot of people did use it in the middle. Their combos just kind of extend to the combos, get to the wall. So yeah, that is how heat burst works. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is heat engages. Now, heat engages are specific moves on certain characters which allows them to go into heat. So they hit them with this heat engager, and it has this like cinematic of them rushing towards them, and they are now in heat, and it basically leads to a 50-50 mix-up. For example, when you actually use a heat engager to go into heat, you have your full axis of your bar. So it's the more effective way to obviously go into heat. Heat engagers only activate on hit. You can't activate heat engager if they're blocking, so that's one thing to keep in mind as well. So that is how heat engagers work. Now, leading on from heat engagers, we're now going to be talking about heat dashes. So essentially what heat dash is while you're already in heat, how you do a heat dash is if you use a heat engager and either press the heat burst button or hold forward. I hold forward because it makes more sense, and that is how you get a heat dash. So for example, if you use a heat engager while the opponent is blocking and you hold forward, you will basically get a very plus on block move, and you dash right in front of them, which gives you another mix up. If they get hit, you can also use it to extend your combo even further. So what a lot of people were doing in the CNT, for example, was they'll use the heat burst, then use the heat engager move, dash in to obviously get that wall carry, and obviously continue their combos. So that is essentially what a heat dash is. Also, once you use a heat dash, it completely drains the rest of your bar. So once you use that heat, once you use a heat dash, you're no longer going to be in heat. So that's basically you waste the rest of your heat meter. So that's also something to bear in mind while using heat. Now, the final thing on the list of how to learn the heat mechanic is to know what a heat smash is. So you can kind of think of heat smash as your unique special heat, call it rage drive, for example. Let's call it rage drive for lack of a better term, but like your very special move that you use while you're in heat. This is a very big chunky move, usually does a lot of damage on hit and gives you a lot of plus frames on block. Now when you use a heat smash, it actually completely drains all of your meter. So it's kind of like a one-time use. Once you've used it, that's it, you're no longer in heat. A lot of people use this to kind of end either combos while they're in heat, or use it just to apply huge pressure. So essentially that is what a heat smash is. Oh, and also one last thing, one thing to also remember in heat is that each character has specific properties while they're in heat. So I use Lars for most of the CNT. So for example, Lars gets enhanced moves on his limited entry stance, and also gets access to a new arm and shoulder move. For example, King gets an unbreakable throw, I believe, in heat, and any grab he does restarts his heat meter. Leroy, for example, every time he does a successful parry or sabaki, he also gains back his heat. So there's many different properties that each character has while in heat, so that's also something to also bear in mind. So yeah guys, that's basically how the heat mechanic works. Hopefully you lot understood it a bit more, a bit easier. I know it's kind of a new mechanic, but once you kind of play around with it, you really get used to it, and it's not as complicated as it may seem. So yeah guys, that's basically the end of the video. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you lot in the next one. Peace.